Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, ready, here we go.
Radio in motion.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me tonight on Radio Emotion's Night Train, sort of an homage to that nightlife vibe since there's a full moon out, so I'm feeling those, sort of smooth, kind of when you're, especially when you're on the train, I feel like the world outside just sort of drifts away and the city, although, essentially it can still be wild at night. It just seems very quiet, and it's great when you add certain style of tunes to it. So that's the vibe we have going tonight. But first we're gonna have another installment of The Ugly Truth, and the ugly truth is I think Disney might be the villain of their own story. Look, Disney in general, I'll be honest, and I'm very vocal, as many people are, especially when you're a fan of movies in general and such huge, pop culture icons that shaped our lives, like Star Wars, like Disney itself, but definitely Star Wars and Indiana Jones and the Marvel characters, and much like the Empire, Disney has started to really be the consumer of all the other studios, and I guess you could have seen it coming. I don't. You think to yourself, oh, who could have guessed it would have been Disney that came out on top? Because when you're younger, I suppose you just think about the movie, your favorite movies, your favorite characters, like I say, Indiana Jones or Luke Skywalker in Star Wars movies, Aliens, RoboCop, all these iconic movies. And then you start to think about the movie studios. Yes, of course. And that's huge, Warner Brothers and Universal and 20th Century Fox. And you start to realize, yes, okay, there are obviously other very independent movie studios. And then, of course, in the 90s, Miramax started to rise and Quentin Tarantino. But for the most part, there's the major studios that would always be known to bring it. But as the years go on, as everyone tires, and I feel like Hollywood is running out of ideas. Out of all those, I guess I really wouldn't have guessed Disney to come out on top as the one that started gobbling up all the others. So anyway, what I'm alluding to is Disney certainly is a monster company, and they, like anything, their aim is to make money. Don't ever deny that. As much as you think movie studios are in it for the fans, they're not. They're in it to stay in business, and that's okay. That's okay, because that's actually a point I'm going to make later. I don't mind when they are purely driven by profit, because that means they will, at least try to ensure the entertainment gets everyone there a very broad range of the audience, and appealing to a broad range of the audience to get the butts in the seats. Obviously, the modern world has changed a bit with streaming, so it's not so much how many, actual people went to see the movie and paid, but that does still matter. So Disney starting out very humbly, with animation and Mickey Mouse and Snow White and these iconic characters. And of course, part of that was the iconic theme parks themselves: Disneyland, Anaheim, California, Disney World in Orlando. And of course, they have spread across Euro Disney and in Paris. Well, what we're going to talk about tonight is in the vein of that. Disney is going to be expanding apparently to Abu Dhabi, and you're like, hey, why not? It's another city. I'm sure the people there want to see it. Well, what we're going to get into is some very interesting topics, in that Disney also, as a brand, wants to align itself and show itself as very inclusive. And frankly, they're going to a land inclusivity is not necessarily a priority. And I think this is another case of do as I say, not as I do, which annoys me. And again, I won't get too much into that, but it's in the same vein of Taylor Swift and all the Hollywood elites and even people in government and politics telling you that your car is the devil and you're not helping to our carbon neutral world, and then they hop in their private jet and fly around the world, spitting out more than your car would in a lifetime. So again, it's different for the elite. You get the Klaus Schwabs and the Bill Gates of the world and the World Economic Forum saying, I think we need to have a new mindset and everyone needs to start eating bugs. This whole steak thing and eating meat and protein. Oh, come now, there's other things you can eat like insects, while they are at their palatial, snow cabin resort, hoeing into a T-bone steak. So this is where it annoys me as Disney too, because they always lean into a message they're trying to convey to us to make sure that we're living life right, and they're always preaching to us how wrong we are. So I think it's interesting, that Disney is going to pour so much money into this. And let's be honest, a $10 billion mega project, which does sound impressive, but Disney won't even really spend a dime because they're just going to build it there. Mostly it'll just be licensing, so Disney will just make more money off that. But, they're entering a country where, and I'm going to be honest, and this is me just talking about the facts. I'm not making a decision. I'm not giving an opinion. I'm just asking questions. And that's the whole point, because if you don't ask questions, if you don't have a conversation, you'll never get any two groups to at least see eye to eye, not necessarily agree on everything, but at least see where improvements can be made. And in this conversation, it is about, Disney being so very, very open about being a huge proponent of the LGBTQ plus community. And they're entering a country where that is still very illegal and not only frowned upon, but, thrown in prison or possible death. And I'm not exaggerating or making that up. That is a fact. So, a huge brand in the Western world, proudly waving the pride flag back home, but they're happy to go into a country and take the money of a land that, and again, I'm not taking a side or knocking a tradition, and I know this is hard for people to get around, but other lands have different traditions in general. And if you want to have that conversation and open their minds up, that's fine. But I'm just, again, asking questions for Disney. What do they want to be? So, they're partnering with Abu Dhabi. And again, it's so funny that you got to give it to them. It's a smart move, that country's going to flip the bill because, let's be honest, there is money there, okay? It's the whole Dubai, the whole, Arab Emirates United. Of course there's huge money there, that. Oil money still holds weight, and that is, billions and trillions. So $10 billion to make a theme park, that's nothing. But they can't just make any theme park. No one will come. So you do Disney, and Disney will say, well, sure, we'll just license you all the branding and Mickey Mouse and all the princesses, and you pay us for that. So frankly, from a business standpoint, you got to give it to them. That is 100% money in their pocket and profit. But like I say, it's interesting that they're happy to enter a country that doesn't exactly, match their current values. And again, the U.S. Disney has taken, public stands opposing, like there was the bill in Florida. They called it the Don't Say Gay bill. It wasn't called that. That's ridiculous. But, they stood up against that and again, very open on the side they're taking. So they're not staying neutral on any of that. And yeah, in the UAE generally, LGBTQ identities are criminalized. That's a fact. There's no legal protection. Even public expression can lead to imprisonment. Public displays of affection can lead to imprisonment or worse. So again, I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying one side is right or wrong. And you may say, well, it's a good thing because they're going to take our ideals to that country and it'll spread around. I hate to tell you, folks, it doesn't work like that. You don't just put up a Disneyland and think that everyone there will immediately change their very deep-rooted values and beliefs just because Disneyland is there. So yeah, again, for them it's low risk, high reward, global expansion with little accountability. But it does raise a question, are Disney's values genuine? Or are they just marketing strategies? Are they just pandering? And I'm sorry, I think it's the latter. I'm sorry, Disney will go whichever way the wind blows. Again, that's in pursuit of profit, and I get that. Disney in 50s and 60s and 70s, most of the decades before, it was just the traditional nuclear family. Of course, now, I'm the devil in the new world. Obviously, being a heterosexual male is just the worst thing. A white male, oh my God, I don't even know why I'm talking. I'm immediately just racist, just any word that comes out of my mouth. So I'm at the lowest part of the totem pole now. So, and that's fine, the world changes again. There's the word inclusiveness. I still think sometimes that tends to exclude and also makes people divisive rather than actually, like I used to say, I always thought, especially like New York and America, it was supposed to be a melting pot. You take everyone's different views and beliefs and you bring them together and you're stronger for it. And nowadays I feel like things are just more divisive. And Disney, again, they're happy to stay on I think a certain side and make it more divisive. So, I feel like it's, Disney's, hey, they're following the money. Let's be honest. Disney is a business, full stop. The bottom line is profit. I have no problem with that. And it's just about, there's the Western scolding versus global, opportunism. And what I mean by that is you're like, well, what does it matter? They're going to build a theme park there. The thing is I just think it's hypocritical because, again, it's not just the brand. It's not just that they go to a press conference or they're in a gay pride parade or again, I'm just making comments on the facts. It's about, they do put it in the content. In the Western civilization, yes, there's a more inclusive look to their modern movies, and of course there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just making a comment that the hypocrisy is that, and this is a fact, you can look this up. So if they have a scene where if it's two men or two women, if they feel that that's not going to go down too well in, let's say, the Chinese market, they won't necessarily change the movie, but they won't advertise it like that. They won't put anything up in marketing. And in fact, they have done this. They've done this with Star Wars. They will change the scenes. They'll alter the movie. So there'll be a Western one, America, UK, Australia, and then there'll be one for the Chinese market, which has been altered. So that's my thing. What are you? Are you really going to stand behind it? Or are you just going to play around? And that's not how you spread a message. If that's the message you want to spread, if that is an ideology you want to stand behind, then stand behind it. But they're not going to. They will change their movies so that they will change the park for that region. I guarantee it. It won't have the same look as the theme parks do here. And again, this is what I'm doing. I'm just having a conversation and asking the question, how do you feel about that? Do you think Disney should even have any views on that? Do you think any businesses should get involved with that? And if they do, should they get behind it in a global sense? Because that goes against, when I said, well, you ask me, well, if they're going to expand to that area, then that's just about goodwill and helping to expand these ideas of inclusiveness and togetherness. No, because they will shift and change to the market so they can make sure they get paid and they don't offend the people, basically the moneymaker, the money backers. Okay? You can't offend the people fronting the money. And the fact is guaranteed all the ones who are going to spend the $10 billion do not share the same values that Disney currently do. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying. So yeah, I think it's interesting. So yes, they're happy to suspend those values the moment there's a massive payday. There's no other way to say it, yes? There's no other way to say it. They're happy to go where the wind blows, if the wind blows in the direction of $10 billion. Well, I mean, the billions they'll possibly make on the park. So yeah, this definitely sends mixed messages to consumers, yeah? Disney, our values are flexible when money's involved. Ding! I don't know if that's a good slogan. And like I say, is that what you really want? Do you want the role of a global brand to even have that opinion? And if you do, would you like them to stick by it all over the world? Because that's the problem. You can't go out there with a picket sign in one country and in the other one set the picket sign ablaze and stomp on it. I don't think that's how it works, because look, you think they'll get caught up? Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just get away with it. There'll be the Disney version there and the Disney version in the Western culture. But yes, so should Disney stand for something beyond profit? Can a global brand afford to be politically neutral? I feel like they used to be. I'm not going to be mean. I do feel like more and more companies are getting involved in politics. Sometimes it helps them. Maybe it does for a while. And again, this just happens to be this one particular one. And again, it is a serious one. Remember what I said. The LGBTQ community in general, that entire way of life and identity and is completely not only frowned upon, but it is something that will land you in prison or death. It's not even funny. So that's a huge divisive line that Disney's saying, yeah, we're happy to go there. Give us money. Yeah, sure. You can have whatever you want. Hey, but don't these values, are these worrying you when you shake our hand? Not at all. Money's money, buddy. I'm just saying, does that disturb you? And is it fair to expect consistency from a company when it operates in sort of such different legal and cultural environments? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't have the answer. These are the questions. It doesn't feel right. I'll tell you that. I'm not saying I have an opinion just yet, but I'm talking about it because it just doesn't quite feel right. Yeah. Or on the other hand, is it more dangerous when a brand, uses morality only when convenient? I don't think that's right. No, I don't. I think it is very dangerous. I think that's the problem when, when you use it on such a huge audience, like all of the US and the UK and all of the Western culture, and then you just suspend it when you're getting a payday. I think that just makes us all feel like chumps. And they're just pandering to the audience to get what they need. And again, maybe you don't mind. I would rather they just stay out of it then. If they're not going to be consistent, yes, I will throw my opinion in general. If you're not going to be consistent on any subject, especially when it comes to something like whatever, anything having to do with serious human issues, whether it's war, whether it's LGBTQ community, whatever it is you've decided to stand behind, I think it's weak. It's really piss weak to not stand behind it when you're going to get some cash and hoping that nobody sees. Everyone's going to see. Everyone knows. I can't believe everyone's not talking. Well, they are talking about it, but it should be talked about more. And again, they did this to themselves. They did this to themselves by making it known that they align themselves with these values. And again, they went so far as to not just put it in their company and in behind the scenes and the workers and the staff. They put it in the actual product they make. They put it in the content, okay? And that stands the test of time. So when those movies and those movie characters, again, this is all about the movies they make become characters and people put on the big costume and walk around the theme park. How do you translate that when you've added an LGBTQ scene to your movie and you're proud of it in the USA, but when you go over there, that character is erased? Does that set right with you? Does that feel right? I'm just asking a question and putting it out there. No, I don't think it feels right. I think you need to remain consistent. And if they do remain consistent, again, the park hasn't been built, but I dare say it won't go down well. Okay? If being gay in Abu Dhabi is a prison offense and death, I don't think the character would be walking around in the theme park. So are they going to be brave and do that? Or are they going to change their ways? I think they're going to change their ways and have two different versions. So again, that's just what I'm asking, and I'm not saying I have any answers for you. But I think what I am annoyed about in general at the end of this, when all is said and done, I do think when any big brand, something as huge as Disney and influential, when they get involved with any sort of ideology or anything political, I think they should stay out of it, or if they do, they need to stick by it, because they'll just be seen as charlatans and hustlers, and I don't think that's going to help their brand, considering, again, a lot of their movies have been tanking lately because, again, they're trying to please either certain audiences, or then they're trying to please everyone. You can't do either. Just make a product. I'll end with that for all movie studios in general. Just make a movie. Just make a product. Whatever it is, whatever it may be about, whoever the characters are, whatever their skin color or sexuality, whatever their journey, man or woman, dog, whatever they are, whatever it is, make a good story. Make a compelling story. Have good characters. Have a good story arc. And don't select any segment of society. And I know, like I say, the new one to hate on, it does happen to be heterosexual white males. I don't think that helps. I don't think that helps to shout out inclusion while you're also practicing exclusion. And I will stand by that. And for anyone who doesn't see that, I don't think you're seeing the writing on the wall. And if it's a punishment, then just tell us. You know what I mean? Be honest. If this is a punishment, then tell me how long it'll go on for and what I can do to get over it, considering I had nothing to do with any of this. So I'm just saying that's the problem with especially a lot of the modern movie making, is they get involved so much as to make sure they've shown how much they're showing their inclusiveness on one segment, but while scolding another. You're bad white man. It just doesn't help. Why don't you just try to find a way to include everyone and get over it? Or dare I say, maybe just focus on the art of making a movie. Like I say, the product itself, a good director, good actors, whatever the story is, people will come. Don't try to preach the message. Don't make your movie wrapped around a message and try to just build a movie around it. It doesn't work. If the movie ends up having a message based on its strong story, hey, you know what you just did? You just ended up making movies like they've done for a freaking century, okay? It starts out as a story. Like I say, it's all about sitting around a campfire. Cavemen sitting around a campfire, spinning a yarn and a legend and telling a story. Nowadays, that campfire has turned into, a play on a stage. And then the play on the stage has turned into motion pictures on a screen. That's all it is. It's just stories, folks. It's just human stories. Stop trying to make it so divisive and political. And yeah, my final thoughts for Disney, I don't know. Stand up and take a stand at what you believe in everywhere. Don't bow down, because it won't go over well. Yeah, like I say, I don't know if you accept companies having, situational ethics when it comes to global business. That's what I'll call it. That's up to you. So that's it for me on this episode, talking about Disney's theme park in Abu Dhabi. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Either way, I know they're going to make buttloads of money, truckloads of money. So yeah, Disney may claim it's the most magical place on earth, but I don't know, when it comes to values, it seems they're more flexible than Fantasia. So I'll leave it with that. All right, folks, more great music on tonight's episode of Radio Motion's Night Train after a word from our awesome sponsors.